Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic. What movie was basically just an ad? The Lego Movie. Fantastic ad though. Not going to lie, I bought some more afterwards. Some more. May I present exhibitor in target audience? I also picked up more after. The internship, it's essentially a big ad for Google. Came here for this one. Was at Google at the time. Team went to see it together when it came out. We figured it would be bad, maybe even so bad it's good, but we were not prepared. Good grief, we were not prepared. I spent most of the time in the theater bouncing between two states of mind. 1. Rationalizing. 2. Disbelief. What were the biggest WTF moments where something portrayed in the movie was nowhere close to reality? The fucking emoji movie. Like seriously, they show you multiple mobile games, how to play those games, and also shows them to be fun. Little to no plot, just ads. And Candy Crush had a tie-in event where you have to save the main character of the movie. Like they did in the movie. Just Dance also has a song featuring the emoji movie characters. I hate it. https://mkij8sh3wsw. Every single Transformers movie /TV shows. Dude stops mid-battle to chug a Bud Light. Yeah right. Also they were literally just ads for toys. Edit, added the point about the toys. I somehow forgot about that. During the end battle of the first Transformers movie, a bunch of everyday objects were turned into Decepticons. One of which was an Xbox 360, complete with the startup chime and everything. I actually thought that was hilarious. Maybe I'm shallow. Don't forget that there are also ads for the US military. And they made Bumblebee first car the worst possible Camaro in the worst shape possible. They deliberately bought ones with ugly interiors and trashed ones which were too nice, to make the Chevy concept car look even better. And an ad for the Romeo and Juliet laws in Texas for some reason. Edit, https://duq0hlmvqw0. They say recruiting for the US Navy and the USAF went up a lot after Top Gun came out in '86. I was an Air Force brat living on base, surrounded by planes and pilots, when that movie came out, and it still made me want to be a fighter pilot more than ever. It did a great job of selling young me, that's for sure. Was it the shirtless, slow-mo beach volleyball? Wayne's World did in movie ads better than anyone ever. And now they are doing ads for Uber Eats or something. Just watched it for the time. I was not emotionally prepared for the 30-year age difference. The new Space Jam. It was just Warner Brothers saying don't forget we own all these franchises, so suck it Disney. Favorite phrase was this is just a shitty Ready Player Warner Brothers. Holy fucking shit, that was rough to watch. The whole movie was a giant reference to Space Jam 1, filled with mini references to literally every single fucking piece of Warner Bros. IP. It barely had a plot. It was just enough of a plot to call a plot, and then literally filled with references that no one asked for. It just felt so fake and produced. Maybe Michael Jordan is just a better actor than I realized. Or Tenyomi was less critical on Space Jam 1. I think it's ironically a really good analogy of what it was like to be a kid in the IITs vs now. My biggest gripe was that they didn't make any actual jokes with all the references. Just like here's Rick and Morty. No joke, no commentary. Nothing about the fact that R&M have a portal gun for dimension hopping, and the whole movie is about someone trapped in an alternate dimension. Seems relevant. Or here's James and Bugs in black leather, because Matrix. Again, no jokes. Just a pop culture reference and move on. Here's an Austin Powers reference with Fud as Minami. No joke, just the reference, now move on. Here's a shitty version of both Danny DeVito and Burgess Meredith versions of the Penguin. No jokes, move on. Here's a Game of Thrones reference, move on. They couldn't even bother make a passing remark about how GOT or Clockwork Orange seem really out of place next to Jabba and Yogi Bear. The only thing that honestly felt like it had any creativity at all was the Training Day King Kong reference, with Kong actually in attendance to huff at it. Jurassic World, how many times were they going to show us that Mercedes-Benz logo, or whatever car they featured? Usually in shows too it'll be a Chevy Silverado or Chevy brand car. I vividly remember heroes being way overstuffed with Nissans. I specifically remember the cheerleader asking to borrow the car, but calling it by proper branding name. Instead of just "can I borrow the car," it was "hey dad, can I borrow the Nissan whatever." I actually forgot what specific car they were whoring themselves out for, just remember it being a super jarring line. I was half expecting her to turn straight to camera and say something like "I need to borrow that car specifically for its comfortable seats, turbocharged engine, and smooth handling. Mac and me. I want that alien to come on Conan and show a Paul Rudd film clip. While Coke is everywhere and even literally saves the aliens from death, it's McDonald's facts that are more interesting. Supposedly they're the ones who bankrolled a lot of film's production. It's one of the only films to legally use Ronald McDonald. They are very hardcore about how they let media use him, but they were basically the producers of the movie and forced the McDonald's scene. We watched that movie because of the Paul Rudd / Conan jokes, and holy shit, my brain was not ready to comprehend that insane film. It just get crazier and crazier. Cocaine in 80s boardrooms was no joke. They must have been snorting mountains of it when they greenlit this project. I watched it on Mystery Science Theater and was still not prepared. Evolution. The big gag is the movie is a product placement for Head & Shoulders shampoo. All cause of that selenium sulfide. Looks like they're trying to administer a giant enema. Evolution is such a great movie. Love it to death. If I was a giant nasty alien bird in a department store, where would I be? Lingerie. Such a fucking great ad though. All that set up for it, then the two dumb jocks suddenly get their A's to pop the product placement. I don't know that I would refer to those two as jocks. Spaceballs was just advertising itself the entire time. I'm still patiently waiting on the release of Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money. He should instead release Spaceballs 3, The Search of Spaceballs 2. Lucasfilm actually did the special effects for Spaceballs, free of charge, on condition that Mel Brooks never actually releases toys for the movie. That's why the movie made such an in-joke about it. George Lucas signed a deal with Fox. He agreed to forego payment for directing the original Star Wars in exchange for full rights to the merchandising. He made billions from the toys and product placements. There's a show on Netflix, The Toys That Made Us. In the Star Wars episode they talk about how the original toy deal was basically give us 10 Kelvin a year and we won't ask questions. The deal both made the company, don't remember the name, and let them basically start the expanded universe to print money. When they were bought out by Hasbro, they let the deal lapse. A few years later they announced the prequels and a new toy deal. Remember that 2004 Will Smith movie I, Robot? There was a scene in the film where he conspicuously opens a vintage pair of Converse shoes. Then later his mom asks him what he's wearing and he lifts his foot up and says something like Converse All Stars, vintage 2004. I know you want them. It's a literal commercial in the middle of the goddamned film. FedEx branded Robot, another on-time delivery from FedEx. And then it's Will Smith's vintage Converse All Stars. Then the Audi sponsorship. The Wizard. At least it was honest about the product it was advertising. The Power Glove really was so bad. I bought the Power Glove. I regretted buying the Power Glove. Enjoy this scene. Did they just try to make it look like Mark lifted another equal-size grown man off the ground by his shirt with one hand? By making the actor just raise himself up on his toes. Nobody has ever successfully lifted somebody by their shirt ever, yet every movie / TV show perpetuates the notion that it's a tough guy's go-to move. That Bud Light drink was hilarious. So out of place. They should have paused the movie to pivot the camera around him while he drank it. Holy shit, that was the funniest product placement. They clearly muted the colors of everything in the scene except the Bud Light. God, this was painfully stupid. Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. Still a kinda fun movie though. That was originally gonna be Denny's or something *. White Castle was like the third choice, but they were the ones up for being associated with the film. I've since been informed it was Krispy Kreme, not Denny's. Harold and Kumar Go to Denny's doesn't have the same ring to it. Kind of sounds depressing. Not a movie, but this scene from Hawaii 5-0 is probably the most on-the-nose product placement I've ever seen. Wow, didn't even bother editing Subway's script whatsoever. I'm 90% convinced they writers found out they were contractual obligated by the studio to shoehorn it in, so they made it so obvious out of spite. That show has the most blatant product placement I've ever seen. Just constantly in your face. Windows Surface, Windows products, every car in the show is a Chevy. I'm astonished they weren't flying in Chevy branded helicopters. Oh man, the Windows placements were awful. Pretty sure it was Hawaii 5-0 that who heroically used the term "bing it."